I just pulled fresh spinach off my Chicago balcony. In December, while my neighbor was out there scraping ice off his car like it's some kind of punishment. Now, before you think I've lost my mind, check this out. This little plastic tunnel, $12. These greens, right here, they survived 3 legit snowstorms and temps that dropped to 15 degrees. And here's the part that gets me every single time: this kale tastes better after the frost hits, like Mother Nature decided to add sugar just to prove everyone wrong about winter. So, if you've been thinking Chicago winters mean dead plants and zero fresh food until spring rolls around, you're about to see why thousands of city gardeners are calling this the winter game changer. What I'm showing you today works on balconies, tiny backyards, even that random sunny spot on your fire escape. Stay with me, because there's one rookie mistake people make with these tunnels that'll kill everything overnight, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. Let me paint the picture of what goes down in Chicago every November. You walk into the grocery store, grab a container of spinach 5 ounces, $6, get it home, crack it open, and half of it's already slimy. The other half tastes like it hitched a ride on a truck for 2 straight weeks, because it probably did. Meanwhile, your balcony or backyard is just sitting there doing absolutely nothing for 5 months. Just cold, dead space collecting snow. But here's what nobody tells you, and this straight up changed my life. 3 winters ago, certain plants don't just survive cold, they love it. I'm talking about crops that get sweeter, crunchier, and more flavor-packed after they experience frost. Scientists actually measured this stuff. When temps drop, these plants convert their starches into sugars like natural antifreeze. That's why winter kale tastes like candy compared to summer kale that tastes like, well, kale. Best part? You don't need a heated greenhouse. No grow lights. No dropping hundreds of dollars on fancy equipment. You need about $15 one Saturday afternoon, and the willingness to try something your neighbors think is straight up impossible. So let's get into the game changer that makes this whole thing work. This right here is the backbone of everything, the low tunnel. And I'm breaking this down so simply that even if you've never built anything in your entire life, you'll knock this out before lunch. First up, let me show you what we're working with. This is a 1/2-inch PVC pipe, not the thick plumbing stuff. The cheap, bendy kind. Any hardware store's got 10-foot sections for like $3 each. For a balcony setup, you need 2 pieces. Small yard bed? Maybe 4 to 6, depending on how long your bed is. Here's the move: you don't even need to cut these unless you want to. You can literally bend them into hoops, as is. But if your space is tight like most Chicago balconies, just have the hardware store cut them down. They'll do it for free, no questions asked. Next, you need something to anchor these hoops. You can buy fancy ground stakes if you want, or you can do what I do, grab someone foot sections of 1/2-inch rebar. 4 pieces, $2 each. Hammer them into your soil or pots about 6 inches deep, leaving 6 inches sticking up. Slide your PVC right over those. Boom! Instant hoop frame. But here's where people screw up. They space their hoops too far apart. Your hoops should be about 18 inches to 2 feet apart max. Any wider, and your plastic's gonna sag under snow weight and collapse right onto your plants. Not a good look. Now for the covering. Go to any hardware store, ask for clear plastic sheeting, 4 mil thickness. Not 6 mil, not 2 mil. 4 is the sweet spot, thick enough to trap heat, thin enough to let sunlight through. A 10 by 25 foot roll runs about $8 and covers multiple tunnels. Drape this over your hoops. Pull it snug, but don't stretch it crazy tight. Use binder clips, those big black ones, to clip the plastic to the PVC every foot or so. Then weigh down the edges. I use bricks. Some folks use landscape stakes. Others use bags of soil. Whatever keeps the wind from turning your tunnel into a kite flying down the block. Total damage, $12 to $18. Total time, 30 to 40 minutes, and that's including trips back inside for coffee because it's cold out there. And get this dead simple setup can be 20 degrees warmer inside than outside. 20 degrees. That's literally the difference between your plants dying and your plants absolutely crushing it. All right, now let's talk about what actually grows in this setup, because this is where it gets really good. First up, kale. But not just any kale. You want varieties bred specifically for cold weather. Winter boar kale, red Russian kale, and lacinato kale, which some people call dinosaur kale because of how the leaves look. These bad boys can handle temps down to 10 degrees. Some people are out here harvesting at 5 degrees. I started 6 winter boar plants back in September. By November, they were about 8 inches tall. First frost hit and I'm thinking maybe I should cover them or something. Nope. The next morning they looked exactly the same. Second frost, third frost, fourth frost didn't even flinch. And every single harvest after Thanksgiving tasted sweeter than the one before. Pro tip right here, always harvest the outer leaves first. Always leave that center growing. That way, one plant feeds you for months instead of just one sad meal. Next, spinach. Specifically, Bloomsdale long-standing or space spinach. These are straight-up winter warriors. They'll slow down when it gets brutally cold like single digits, but they won't die. And the second you get a sunny day in January where it hits 35 degrees, they just start growing again like nothing even happened. I planted spinach seeds in early October directly into my balcony container. 8 weeks later, harvestable leaves. Throughout December and January, I'm picking fresh spinach twice a week for salads, smoothies, quicksalt, whatever. Now, here's something most people don't know: winter spinach has higher vitamin C than summer spinach. And your body needs more vitamin C in winter anyway. So you're literally growing medicine on your balcony. Ever heard of this stuff? Also called corn salad. This is straight up cold proof. Tastes like butter lettuce and regular lettuce had a baby. Grows low to the ground in these cute little rosettes. Handles frost like it's a warm spring breeze. Seeds are cheap online. Plant in September or early October. Harvest by Thanksgiving and keep harvesting through March. Claytonia, also called miner's lettuce. Another cold champion. Tastes slightly tangy, almost lemony. Super high in vitamin C. Grows in partial shade, which is perfect for balconies that don't get full winter sun. And here's the wild card that surprises everyone: arugula. Yeah, that peppery salad green. Varieties like Astro or Slow Bolt arugula keep producing through light freezes. Not as bulletproof as kale, but way tougher than people think. Carrots are another sleeper hit. If you planted them late summer, you can literally leave them in the ground under your tunnel all winter and pull them whenever you want. The cold keeps them crisp and sweet. Some of the best carrots I've ever eaten came out of frozen soil in February. Wild. Green onions, parsley, and cilantro in protected spots all keep going or stay harvestable through winter. But now let me tell you about that one massive mistake I mentioned at the start. This kills more winter plants than anything else. Okay, here it is. The thing that wipes out winter gardens: condensation. Let me break it down. Your tunnel creates this warm, protected little world. Great, right? But when the sun comes out, even on a freezing day, the inside of that tunnel heats up fast. I'm talking 60, 70, even 80 degrees inside while it's 30 outside. Plants start sweating. Moisture builds up on the plastic. Then the sun goes down, temp drops, and that moisture freezes. Now you've got ice forming on the inside of your tunnel, dripping onto leaves, creating the perfect setup for disease and rot. Most beginners seal their tunnels completely. They think more protection equals better results. Dead wrong. You need airflow, even in winter. Here's what I do. I leave both ends of my tunnel cracked open just a few inches. Enough for air circulation, but not enough to lose all your heat. On really sunny days above 40 degrees, I actually lift one whole side of the plastic for an hour or two just to let everything breathe and dry out. Some people install small battery-powered fans inside their tunnels. Some cut tiny ventilation holes near the top of the plastic. The key is managing moisture. Dry plants survive cold. Wet plants freeze and rot. Check your tunnel every few days. Heavy condensation? Add more airflow. Plants looking dry and crispy on the edges? You might have too much ventilation going on. It's about finding that sweet spot. Let's talk timing because this trips people up hard. Most winter crops need to be in the ground late summer to early fall. We're talking August through September for most greens. Why? These plants need to hit a certain size before real winter kicks in. Think of it like this, they gotta be teenagers before winter, not babies. A mature kale plant with 8 to 10 leaves can tank a freeze no problem. A tiny seedling with 2 leaves, toast. So, here's your Chicago timeline. Late August, early September, plant your kale, spinach, arugula, and MG seeds. If you're doing transplants instead of seeds, mid to late September works. October, you can still direct seed spinach and MG. These germinate fast even in cooler soil. Also, a solid time to seed green onions. November, honestly, planting season's pretty much over. Now you're just maintaining and harvesting what you already got going. But you can transplant cold, hardy herbs like parsley if you started them inside. For containers, size matters. You want at least 8 inches of soil depth for kale and spinach. 12's even better. For MG and arugula, 6 inches works fine. Soil-wise, nothing fancy. Regular potting mix, maybe toss in some compost if you've got it. These cold weather crops aren't heavy feeders like tomatoes that'll suck your soil dry. Water when the soil feels dry an inch down. In winter, you'll water way less than in summer. Maybe once a week, sometimes even less. And here's a cool trick: if a hard freeze is coming and your plants aren't under the tunnel yet, water them the evening before. Wet soil holds heat better than dry soil. Sounds backwards, but it works. The first time you harvest your own greens while snow's falling outside, I'm telling you, it feels like straight magic. For kale and spinach, always grab the outer leaves first. Leave the center alone. That center is your future harvests. One plant can give you leaves for 3, 4, sometimes 5 months if you harvest smart. For MG and arugula, you can either pick individual leaves or cut the whole rosette about an inch above the soil. They'll often regrow and give you seconds. Wash your greens inside with cold water. They'll probably have some dirt, maybe a little ice stuck to them. That's fine. That's real food, grown by real you. Now here's the thing about winter greens, they're more nutrient dense than summer greens. Higher vitamin content, sweeter taste, crunchier texture. I eat mine raw in salads, with just olive oil and lemon. Sometimes I saute kale with garlic for 2 minutes. Sometimes I throw spinach into eggs or smoothies. My favorite winter meal? Fresh kale salad with roasted sweet potato, pumpkin seeds, dried cranberries, and a maple mustard dressing. Made entirely while Chicago's buried under a foot of snow. You can also freeze extra greens. Blanch them for 2 minutes, shock in ice water, squeeze out the moisture, and freeze in bags. Perfect for smoothies and cooked dishes later. The point is this: you're eating food you grew yourself in December in Chicago. That's powerful. So you made it through winter with fresh food? Now what? Here's where it gets really interesting. That same tunnel setup, in early March, you can use it to jumpstart warm season crops. While everyone else is waiting until May to plant, you're starting lettuce, peas, radishes, and even early tomatoes under that tunnel in March. The plastic warms the soil faster. You get a 6-week head start on the season. Some people run 2 or 3 crop cycles through one tunnel before summer even starts. Build multiple tunnels. Try cold frames, which are basically shorter, more permanent versions. Some urban gardeners run 8 to 10 tunnels in a small yard and grow food literally year-round. There are also other cold, hardy crops worth trying. Bok choy, mizuna, tatsoi, certain Asian greens that laugh at cold weather. Brussels sprouts actually prefer the cold. Leeks can overwinter. Certain lettuces are bred for winter production. The more you mess around with it, the more you realize winter is just another growing season. Different crops, different techniques, but absolutely doable. And once you crack the code, you never look at winter the same way again. Look, I get it. This might seem weird at first. Your neighbors might look at you funny. Mine definitely did. But you know what happened? By January, those same neighbors were asking where I got my greens. By February, 3 of them built their own tunnels. Because once people see it's actually possible, everything shifts. You stop feeling helpless during winter. You stop dropping money on trash grocery store greens. You start feeling connected to your food and your space even during the darkest, coldest months of the year. So here's my challenge. Pick one crop. Build one small tunnel. Try it this winter or start planning for next fall. Start small, learn as you go, make mistakes, adjust. And if this video helped you see winter differently, do me a solid smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment telling me which crop you're most excited to try. I drop a new urban gardening video every single week, and trust me, we're just getting started. Now get out there and prove winter wrong.